Well, they'll start CT side here on the side of Triumph. They have a kit smoke, but here comes that fast play from RBG.
XC is going to have to intercept, but only intercepting bullets. George is the one fighting back, and he's managed to find a few more. Fantastic stuff from the CT. Is collapsing onto the terrorist, leaving only Wiz alive, who's managed to find another, but caught in the reload. Brought down, and Triumph find their first. Make it look easy.
Yeah, as soon as they recognize that Wiz is on that reload, they just run him down. They were there quickly on those rotations for Triumph. And with George holding his ground for as long as he did on that A site, you know, diverting attention, finding those 2 kills, made things a whole lot easier, that's for damn sure. Not too much success, so at most you'd maybe anticipate this upgraded pistol. Would have almost liked to see, you know, smoke flash or getting a couple of smokes if they could on the RBG side, but nades in, it's going to miss the mark, but Xseed will capitalize and find a kill. They weren't prepared for him to go out swinging.
Could be more to come through. He's got a long range one. Nice little shot on the fadeaway as well as the USB damage that allows B-Wolves to get more done. Really optimizing things with these MP9s as they managed to find 4 kills across them. So pretty good stuff. Xseed also managed to really start climb into relevancy over Vertigo's second half. He had a fantastic time. And Vertigo's mid-side, you know, sort of at times can be similar to the outside of Nuke, where you can, you know, you can kind of creep through, have a lot of different angles to work with to intercept CTs and whatnot. So, you know, obviously not the straightest of parallels, but you can see the skill set transferring in certain situations.
Yeah, first gun round, but going to be fairly limited in terms of their options here on the side of RBG. Don't exactly have copious amounts of that utility, so have to be careful about how they use these flashbangs and mollies. And look at these MP9s. They want to get up close. Hext is round the other side, but George with the quick trade, and he's out of there. That's exactly what Triumph wanted, applying some pressure nice and early onto this RBG side. Now they'll sit within these bomb sites. They had 4 SMGs coming into this round. Now 3 remain. It's not exactly advantageous. You know, I don't envy them in this spot, but
not at all.
How can he get away with a bit of a bonus?
65, 2 big ones. Yeah, that's going to be massive, actually. Yeah. The RBG losing out a lot of that recoverability where they were hoping to take down 60 over in the ramp room. Jitter, though, will find him at the end, so a victim created of him yet. B-Wolves has got an aggressive in through towards the lobby. It's all going to come down to timing, and the timing favors him. Jitter, not quite ready for him to come through, and Wiz reveals his position, and in doing so, is now put into a much more difficult 1v3 than he expected. Double swing out, and B-Wolves to get the frag and get the AK as well.
Very quickly, we move into this 3-0 start here from Triumph. That's probably the longest round we've had thus far. And even then, you know, maybe grinding out like 50 seconds on that clock, whatever. So our first gun round is not all too successful. That punishment on the bonus, not going to see the light of day. Another player that's been pretty consistent throughout has been 60. I'm putting up like crazy numbers across the map, but consistent. He's good for those double kills and those multi-kills sometimes when Triumph need it most.
I like Exceed's lighting setup, man. Looks solid. Got some red glow in the background as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very hacker looking. Oh, wait. You know what? My bad. Forgot. CSGO has a different connotation for the word. I meant more like hacker man from 90s movies.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I understood what you were saying.
My bad. I feel like I have to clarify that one.
Like, wait, what? Exceed's cheating? But, I mean, RBG look like they may be able to get away with something here. They've actually found a man advantage. They've got their hands onto a rifle as well. They're not exactly invested heavily into this. You can see the reaction. They've gotten some firm ramp control via 60. Hate is taking up a position in towards the hut. RBG are just grouped and trying to gather their thoughts. Where do we go with this?
They've got advantages, but not anymore. 60, while he's fading away, he's able to find himself a position to smoke off as well. Smoke might have been a little bit too overzealous, but at least he can peek out and get the kill with it. George, in the meanwhile, backs off. That flashbang's doing nothing, buddy. At least it buys some time for Hate to come through. Nade's not quite going to hit the mark. Chop hadn't proceeded down the ramp yet, and they've reclaimed the advantage. So nicely played from Triumph. Fantastic stuff from Sixy. Be able to get 2 with the MP9, and Shop will just be caught out. Hate heard at the footsteps. Knew he had to try and make the quick peek outward just to see if he can catch him, and fortunately for him, finds him midair.
Yeah, great reactions from Hate all in all. You know, he was sitting in towards Hut, and as soon as Sixy grabs all of that attention at ramp, that's where Hate comes in for that backstab, and then immediately repositions towards that B side because time was low and his teammates still had control of Hell. He knew that there was only one real option. I like what we're seeing from Triumph so far. The Sixy side does look like they've ironed out a lot of these protocols, where sometimes it has been lacking on maps we've seen. Gun barrel spotted. Sixy not gonna hit the timing though.
It looked like it could. Oh my god, you don't need to hit the timing, do you? If Exceed's just gonna go ahead and do right that. Hex in the meanwhile. And Nate could have done a lot more, but fortunately for him, his tag actually comes out later on. He might have been through a deagle if I'm not wrong. Triumph.
What, the tag? Oh, that was from the AWP. Just tags him
Really?
through.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It's too many boxes. Took the brunt of the damage.
Not quite as exciting as Too Many Zoos, which is a fantastic band, but yeah. Sixy just making sure that they can't proceed back up to Hell, while George is the one to guard out the B bomb site. Only one here, so has to be careful. Would like to have a bit more coming out his way. Good timing of the flashbang. He's going to be able to peek out with it. Closes the doors, actually. And that's going to be interesting as he wants to start moving forward. He has a bit of a sight line established, courtesy of a hole in the wall. But the bomb's going to be planted, and they're happy to find the advantage before it is.
I thought they were thinking about blowing those double doors wide open, but now with Sixy finding this man advantage, they're looking to see if RBG get re-aggress over towards ramp. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad is moving into a position where they can just pounce on the site.
Exceed might be able to get the instant shot onto Walco because there's an isolated duel and he's turned away, but Hex is quick on the trade. Even so, George is doing the same and manages to creep through to find Wiz as well. Wiz just lacked the spatial awareness at that point to be able to really dodge away from the bullet and re-peek back into it. But yeah, this comes through 5-0 for Triumph. Great start.
Yeah, great composure as well. As soon as they recognize they have that man advantage, they hold the line and just wait until Sixy, I think, gives the all clear. You know, I think they were anticipating that RBG would try and chase down that trade on the AWPer, but just the passive steps from RBG in the post plant didn't try and push into those fights. So Triumph had all the time in the world to set themselves up for success.
Oh, hey. Somehow managed to actually find the one place where there isn't a flame burning. All right, he will be able to even capitalize off of it. Gets one B-Wills as well. It just keeps it going. Advantages all over the place to be found. And with Walco having a grenade in his hand, he can't help Wiz. Sixy just peeks out, takes him down. 6-0. Triumph extend their lead. Looking very good to close this one out.
Yeah, I feel like I've been very critical.
Days.
I feel like I've been very critical of Triumph throughout this series. You know, wasn't sure what kind of version we would get of them. But this CT side on Nuke, I'm willing to back up on a lot of those statements. Sure, there have been some issues throughout the maps we've seen already, but here on Nuke, like they are real. They've gone to 6 so much faster than we saw 6 rounds pass in any of those previous maps. Like these rounds have looked really good, and they seem to have a solid reaction to what RBG are doing in so many of these offensive. In these rounds where RBG are trying to speed things up or even slow things down, Triumph aren't letting anything slip by. Like we saw RBG make some pretty solid runs on Inferno.
Yeah,
but
this isn't anything like that.
Yeah, this is so much more convincing.
There is not a single point in these rounds so far where we've seen Triumph really lose control, lose the man advantage, or even when they did get out of the 3v4, they still looked to be in position to reclaim it. You could see it. You could see the game plan now. You could see Exceed maybe getting 2, but instead has to settle for nothing. And only some damage. Walco Quick flick for the deagle shot, finds Exceed, takes him down, and George is once again gonna have to be the defender of the B-bomb side. This time on the side itself, though, as he's gonna wait for them to start peeking out from Decon. Reposition is fantastic. Flashbang won't matter. He can get one, almost makes it two, and he's done all he needs for his teammates to be able to move right back in. 60, small gap in the smoke, but he's not looking to exploit it.
Oh, the nade finishes off the job on Wiz. Tagged down by courtesy of George. And that bomb is open. A little bit of a sight line available. Walker's trying to find a gap round, and Chop's actually found the kill on the Deeg. Bomb recovered. Can get this planted round the other side, but that's where Triumph will move in.
Yeah, they're coming in from both sides as well. There's nowhere to go. Chop could have maybe, swung out onto one of them. That means it's an isolated duel, 2 1v1s, but man, that's what I'm talking about, B-Wolves. You pump out that anger. You're already 11-1, B-Wolves. I feel like you're doing enough.
Yeah, they're making this last map look so easy. Like, they are breezing past these rounds. Again, a spot where they have these advantages. They consistently keep that man up. And they get these players in position early enough that they can contest these sites. So it's not exactly easy sailings for a post plan. Well, those worries have been stripped away. Feeling pretty good about Triumph now.
Yeah.
And we could be 2 for 2 in wrong predictions today.
Yeah.
But this is a welcome surprise.
But the way they're doing it especially is just fantastic to see. Hex, however, will find them one of their first major advantages. 60 is unhappy with that fact and wants to give it back to them. Although, as it turns out, Hex is just getting his mojo on.
Yeah, that's dangerous stuff to be going for, but you can see 60 wanted to get that advantage right back. Chop as well, around the top side of that smoke. B-Wills has been plucked, and Wiz on the AWP just holding for aggression. George is wondering where it all went wrong. He hasn't seen a soul. And the first one he sees, he meets the same fate.
Let's not forget, Michael. As dominant as Triumph has been, we've been discussing their dominance in the context of, hey, they're always in an advantageous position. That doesn't necessarily mean they're always coming out alive with 3 or 4 players.
Well, even in the one spot where they were down a man, they, what 3v4 against some upgraded pistols? Yeah.
60 then pushed through with the MP9. He's able to get 2 kills on the fadeaway as well. But what I mean is, you're still losing a lot of players.
Yeah.
So you are still in a position where RBG can feasibly get their way back up to 5, maybe 6 rounds,
Yeah, consecutive rounds would break the money here for Triumph. So that point highlighted. While Exceed and 60 do have some money in the back pocket, the rest of the team does not.
Oh, Exceed. That gap in the smoke could have given him a
Chop come through.
Now,
Exceed's not looking
who's going to notice? Who's going to notice first? They're both just choosing to ignore each other. Chops, how do you lose that? Exceed's able to adjust and go straight to the head, gets a double ding, finishes him off with a sliver of HP. He's been jump scared, but his reaction is correct. Punch that goes in the face, damn it.
Might have to talk about that a little bit later because RBG do have some pretty advanced positions. They're threatening hell. They could wrap towards the heavens. And I think that's what is likely going to transpire here. You see them setting up over towards the hut. I think a smoke molly combo going to be lined up from T roof. And they'll hope that Hex can find a little bit more from this position.
Oh, Hex has just come through, almost wasted out his chance, but he will be able to find the first. Now, that extra time won't mean anything. Perhaps with the CTs being able to react and take him down, there would have been a better chance of it. But 60 instead has to be a hero, and he's already getting ready for it. George is going to start to make his way over as well. 60 just trying to make sure they can't push out from outside the bomb site, but Wiz is the one to close things over. So despite a disastrous beginning, RBG are able to find their second.
Yeah, what the hell is going on into Garage? I mean, Exceed is anti-flash, and then Chop turns around, and he's staring about the fact that, maybe someone's pushing up from the secret steps. I understand why that paranoia comes from, but I'm actually pretty convinced that part of the reason that happens is a little 4-3 action. because he's just on the corner of his screen. I think he just catches like a little glimpse, and that's when he reacted. But yeah, it's so ridiculous that they are pretty much right next to each other in spots where they're just holding for different fights and just not anticipating their movements at all. But here was that fear. You know, some of these closer rounds, Triumph now with that broken money. Now this is a spot where RBG can get some rounds together. So, you know, a lot of praises for the CT side of Triumph. Good reactions, level-headedness as well when the bomb is down. And constantly playing that numbers game. But now RBG up against these pistols. Not meeting too much resistance. Sure, Jitter is low. Hexed as well. Don't think that's going to have too much of an influence on this round, though. Still a minute left to grind away. And they are still hoping that these pistols look for something. Because, you know, best chances when you don't have the weaponry is usually positioning.
Oh, there goes Jitter. And that position is paying off pretty nicely for him, Michael.
That was the tagged player, so that's the best one that you'd want to give up.
True, but at the same time, it's a 1D, so I'm happy. You know me, Michael. Gun shoot head, smile on my face. Hexed, however, I'm going to put some blood on their face. Not like a Joker smile, but I have to wait to see whether he can find it. Indeed he can. Hate is just a casualty waiting to happen. George, however, is teed up for maybe a quick tag onto Hex if he'd been able to bring the man down. Would have been some good damage to get, but instead, okay. Almost walks into his teammate's grenade.
That's okay. He's fine.
I wasn't worried for a second, yeah.
Don't go door.
RBG, however, are hoping to go up and up. Lots of space has been found for them. No kit for Triumph this time over. So again, you're finding these positions where there's already a clear path to a significant advantage. If RBG are able to get the bomb down, this should be their round to lose. 60 though, I love this from him. Aggressive over towards ramp room. Still hasn't revealed his own position. George is the only one who got aggressive, and 60's got to land the shot, but he doesn't even go for it. Instead, George is the savior. Comes through with a kill and damage onto Hex as well. So when the farmer speaks out, rather, B-Will speaks out. Hex doesn't feel comfortable committing.
He pushed forward as well. Might have anticipated that he could fall back after missing that chance. And B-Wills isn't waiting around. He's constantly probing for information. And he could actually find a timing that RBG aren't anticipating. B-Wills is hot on their heels.
Oh, B-Wills might be able to catch them. Hex is tagged, but still not back there. That adjustment might have just saved them. You can't even fault Triumph for trying. That's such a important attempt for them to make just to find the information, but Hate is still over here and trying to cover. They push through the smoke, and that's given Hate time to reposition. He gets a second kill, but Chops drop down. The bomb can be plotted for sure, and he knows it.
He will make steps as he rotates around, picking up some utility along the path. I think there's a kit that he can recover, so that's a bit of a difficulty. Another smoke, but he's already got one on his belt, and Chop knows where he's coming from because of those sound cues. And Chop has an instant shot,
and indeed he's good for it. Fourth round found for RBG, not quite as clean, but man, 60 really needed to pull the trigger over there. Unfortunately, just felt like he was going to be given a better opportunity. And at the same time, you see he still sticks to the scope. He doesn't pull out the knife. He doesn't back off because he really wants to commit to the kill.
Yeah, he was really just a little too slow to react on such a slim peak on the angle, and maybe anticipated that a player would just simply push into it, you know, trying to deal with George, who had advanced further into the ramp. So you can understand why he was hesitant, but yeah, that was a must hit. Now wall of smokes outside here from RBG. They will once again try and insert themselves into garage. Never mind. Quick diversion on the path, just keeping close. Actually, that's entirely my mistake. Part of the reason they path that way is so that they don't get shot from heaven.
Indeed. You also hoping to shoot them quick to heaven. Oh, well. Okay. Marco just demolishes him. Obviously, it's under 5-7, but it's a nice confidence boost regardless. Good to have, although I have to say RBG with confidence might not always be the best of things. AK picked up by George, maybe some damage to be found, but saving the gun is an untenable option.
Yeah, there's no escape. He's completely boxed in. Hext is dropped, but again, escaping is not exactly on the cards unless he beat past Wiz, and he has been hitting the shots he needs to on that AWP after a 7-0 start. Now RBG have answered with 5 in a row. I mean, across the series, we have seen some, I will say, some streaky performances from both squads. You know, a lot of back-to-back rounds. But it does feel like these RBG rounds are a little bit more tumultuous, you know, a little bit more up in the air. You know, always some chances for Triumph to come back into things, but even still, they keep on trucking along, and they built up a hell of a lot of cash while doing it.
RBG, meanwhile, that's a manual throw. No one's close enough to have heard it. Otherwise, Exceed might have been able to queue himself up for a quick peek outwards. However, Chops has been given quick access over towards Secret. B-Wills. I mean, this is the point where RBG are going to have to deal with such a lack of presence from the CT side, because Triumph are just holding back. They're going to wait for them to be the players to make the mistake. George is still wary, though. He's wary about the player who has been given access to Secret. Doesn't really dare to open these doors. That actually gives away a fair bit of information to the other team. 60 finding Hext is important. B-Will is doubling it up even more so.
Yeah, not having a read on these Triumph positions, I'll be able to fire back in either of those two fights. And now the rest of RBG do converge towards the lower side. Again, there is only one player that can defend against this. That's George, and with his catwalk position is hoping to get away with at least that one kill.
He's been very good at putting up the defense on the B-bomb side. I have to give him credit for that where it's due. 20 seconds and they're going to get a lot of information. The glass is going to break. Up comes over. Will not peek. Wiz. Oh, I spoke too soon. Wiz is able to find 60. George now repositioning. He's bought a lot of time for his teammates to start moving over, but Wiz is still in a solid spot. If he gets the 1v1, that'd be big. B-Will's almost spraying down the man through the smoke. Finally, Wiz goes down, and it's only Walco, and he can't find the shot.
Yeah, Spam was right on top of them while he was going for that plant. So really low HP, had to be super crisp on the fight. It's just not to be. Triumph keeping those 3 players up, and George did what he needed to on that site. You know, with that time ticking down, just had to delay for as long as possible, get that one kill, like I was saying. And finally, they break that string of rounds here, that RBG, that, you know, that we were seeing this half comeback. And honestly, considering the way things started, I think even if the half closes out with Triumph winning up to 10, RBG would be pretty happy with how things have turned out.
Yeah, ordinarily that's true. I don't know if you're fine with the momentum, though. This is a big problem. You know, if it goes from like a 10-4 to a 10-5, that's a different story. But Jitter now, he goes out and over, trying to get the instant kills, and they're trading. But trading might not be good enough. The CTs, however, are now falling apart. 60, unable to find the kill he desperately needed. A smoke for the one-way will be able to extinguish the Molotov, as well as a flash from George being lined up. But a secondary Molotov, I mean, 60's got nowhere to go. Triumph might as well just move back to save. Getting onto this bomb site is not looking to be possible. Although I say that, 60... Yeah.
Just considered it for one more second, and then they're out of there. 3-on-4, and not exactly a whole lot of diversity in their avenues of attack. Would have had to double heaven or heavily separate. And, you know, lining up trades is really how retakes are best comprised. Especially with their money in an awkward spot. This is looking forward to this last round of the half instead. I feel like they could have almost been a little bit greedier. Just considering, you know, they have one round in the past 7. So, you know, that loss bonus was still quite high.
Yeah.
But now they have no shortcomings, no inefficient weapons. They have everything they need to deal with this last round of the half, potentially get themselves up to that 9-6, especially with them starting so hot. Be a shame to let that lead go to waste. RBG's been doing a great job, especially players like Wiz and Hex, who have not only been opening up the rounds, but finding these crucial kills that make it that much more difficult for Triumph to get things going.
I mean, not to mention, 60 has really cooled down a fair bit. A lot of these duels that he's been going for doesn't really bear any fruit. Hex is tagged up in the meanwhile, down to 31. Not a great start to the best performer on the terrorist side. The best performer on the server if B-Wills didn't exist, but unfortunately for Hex, he does. And unfortunately for the rest of the RBG squad, he does as well. Jitter. Oh, hold the point because He's been tagged up heavily. 38 HP on him. He's been peppered up, maybe even just by a Molotov. 60 again. I mean, he's ready for this peak to come true, but with a flashbang being deployed with a bit of a utility as well, would have been difficult, but Hex is the player peeking into him. He was already low, so the wallbang's enough, and Walco's next to fall. The bomb goes with it. Jitter will trade, sure, but there's still a player on the back of the bomb. 760 rotating over. Hate's able to drop the bomb yet again and spot out Wiz. A flashbang's gonna make sure that 1v1 would have been easier, but Wiz, while blind, gets that kill, and he has to now get 3 more. If they want to have a chance in this RBG.
No time,
15
no space.
seconds. Nothing to do, no one to peek, and nowhere to go. They find 9 on Triumph, but RBG are probably happy with it. We'll have to see what the second half holds for us after the short break.
You're by my side, I love it. Nothing in this world can hurt me. When you're by my side, I love it. We can leave the world behind us. You make
Triumph maintaining a lead, but hard fought to do just that. RBG have found 6 where they started off being down 0-7. So not quite sure where we're going to go with this one. I'm Tea Time, joined by Michael Yumi Cassidy.
Yeah, who has the momentum? That's the big question coming into this second half. We know who's got the utility. It's Wiz, Smoke, Kit. And again, it's going to be fast plays into this A side on the T side.
And it's Chop to find the first. Quick trade from George, but not before his teammates already fallen. It's George to keep it going, though. Very often been a big player for Triumph's side, and now will be no different. Jitter and Walco, the ones left, we did see a very successful retake from the CT side. This might be no different. Not even a retake needed. Bombs not planted yet. Walco has a smoke dissipating from in front of him. So a duel found and taken down. It's Hate to Fall and B-Wills. Caught out right in the open. Bomb not recovered. They know it. He knows it. Has to move forward. Trying to go for the plant. Fakes it out. Jitter's not going to actually pee. Even gives out a couple of sound cues by just jumping up and down to try and confuse him. B-Wills, however, has got time to play with. And as he tries to jump over, he's not going to be seen. So bomb plant at the B bomb site should be secured pretty much. Even the round might not be.
Yeah, they're doubling up, making sure to recover that kit as well, give them some options. Smoke recovered as well. B-Wills has an opportunity at an isolated fight, and Jitter is just trying to keep him busy. Dinked on down. B-Wills trying to close in on that gap. Walco's coming.
Oh, he didn't notice him. Oh, Jitter didn't either, but Jitter still gets the kill. B-Will saw him from the corner of his screen, but I don't know if it's on registry. I don't know if it's 4-3. We've had a few of those moments so far. But
it's getting late in the night as well, and I'm saying Roger Wilco instead of Walco. And he's been a key man for RBG. Gets those 2 kills when things are getting a little bit hairy on that A bomb site in this pistol round. But Jitter getting the bomb planter, or was supposed to be the bomb planter on that A site, was really what threw everything in out of whack there for Triumph. It was looking like a pretty successful pistol round all in all, right? They got those entries fast enough. Just the fact that RBG were able to equalize rather quickly.
Yeah, it looked like George had done enough, but not quite. B-Will's obviously putting up a fight at the very least, but yeah. Bomb plant does guarantee them at least a pretty decent buy going into this one, and unlike RBG, they are not going to go for the full Glocks.
Yeah, they went for the full Glocks because they didn't get a plant down.
Well, in all fairness, we do see a lot of force buying regardless. Maybe not in this particular qualifier, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I say qualifier because, of course, it's not a qualifier, but it does give you a qualification for the EPL conference. Jitter really wants to get there, and he's going to be able to find the first. It's Hate to Fall, double up to follow. Nicely done from Jitter.
And they all line up for him there on the spray. The first is just a nice, quick burst. And he's burst onto the scene. RBG could find a nice and easy second round. This is the buy coming in from Triumph that has found next to nothing. George is the other side of the map. Bombs over at ramp. And long way around isn't exactly the easiest either. Because unless this glass is broken, which it almost certainly is not, they're going to know where he's coming from.
Poor George. Just one of these impossible circumstances to be trying to fight your way out of. At least he'll be able to put himself in a position to maybe get a kill or 2, but yeah, that's not really gonna happen either. Jitter ends things out on 4 now, up to 16 on himself. Solid showing on the CT side already. And RBG should be able to equalize off the back of that. Short of any sort of catastrophic failure, and they will be in a fantastic position to start powering through.
I've had this thought for a long time, and I feel like now is the right time to say it. I feel like if Wiz and B-Wills combined their camera angles, we would actually see like their full face and like not just the mouse or not just the top of his head.
But why do we care about B-Wills rather than Wiz when we've got Hate who's got cat airs and a kill with the P250?
Has he got the cat airs back out? He put them away from map 2.
Oh, he had them on right now. Even from map 2, for half of them, he had them on. Like I took a screenshot from there.
I see. Maybe trying to change things up every now and again.
Yeah. Would be funny if he came out with like antlers in the middle.
Oh man, I talk about the cams and now they're gone.
It's all your fault. How dare you?
It actually might be.
Maybe production is just fixing something up where we can see like both those cameras stacked on top of each other.
That would be a little peculiar. But RBG off to a pretty solid start here on the CT side. Now a full investment once again from Triumph. Now they have this AWP to play around, which 60 started half out pretty well. And now into the T side, he has picked off Wiz. That's the AWP v AWP duel that they were looking for. And now they collapse towards outside where 60 has found another trade.
Still, Shop keeps things in their favor, however, temporarily. 60 chucks out one of those AWPs, but while he's trying to back off, he does find a shot to the head. Fortunately, it is through the container, so not the most damage that could have been dealt. Even then, RBG aren't happy with how this round's gone out. They were hoping to get a few quick kills, and losing out 3 to the AWPer in close range angles as well. Yeah, never fun. Sharp descent down to Secret in the meanwhile from Triumph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Hex and Jitter aren't really going to be close enough to that action. Now, Jitter does start to consider it. Zoro to one of these ramp entrances would like to get himself into a position where, you know, likely to get those 2 kills, but there's just so much exposed territory. Triumph could sneak up behind him for all he knows. Now he realizes, just as he was considering wrapping back towards Hell, we'll get there in time.
Oh, swinging outwards. Yeah, the CTs aren't going to be able to stop this bomb from being planted. Might just want to consider backing off to save. Yamani's decent, but not quite the best in where it could be. Jitter starts to peek in, gets himself the first, and maybe all my considerations are just wrong. Hex will have the chance. 60 jumps right into him and leaves Hate alone. Cat ears or not, he hears something coming. It's his death.
Man, how does that end up happening? Triumph held onto that advantage for so long. And you can see the paranoia was setting in those last 2 players, but able to coordinate between each other, get the 2 kills that's needed towards the tail end. And I thought that was going to end up being this Triumph first round. I mean, what more did 60 need to do? You know, he got those 3 kills with that AWP, even with him being heavily tagged up for those fights towards lower. It's more than you can ask of him. Is it too early? I mean, CT side of Nuke.
Yeah.
Very often where we see these teams get most of their rounds on the map, outside of a few exceptions, perhaps.
I mean, you know, always getting more and more T-sided day by day, yada, yada. But yeah, it is CT-sided Nuke at the end of the day. Not quite ancient, but not too far off from it either. Actually, just hoping to find something. It's like buying a metal detector to find treasure. Probably not going to be able to recoup the cost, but why not try? Chop in the meanwhile is going to see a couple of players breezing right past him, and it's Exceed and Hate to actually find a few quick ones, and it's B-Wills to keep things in their favor. Triumph are somehow putting themselves in winning positions and have found the weapons to try and continue forward as well.
Bomb was a little far from the site, though, so now they're worried that, in spite of the fact they get all of those kills, that RBG would be there on the rotate. Now George will risk it. Jitter's out the vent, and Hates hit the shot he needed to. Walco, no teammates. And while he'll have an avenue in through heaven, no utility either.
Not had the best of games so far either. You know, I saw quite Inferno where he was just hitting every single shot, and I wouldn't hate it if he just decided against his right here. You know, they've got very weird money coming into it. Wiz will probably have to be set down to an MP9 or something on the lines of a Farmers, perhaps. The rest of them can buy, but you know, if Walco can drop that Farmers over, yeah, you've got a much better buy going into things.
Yeah, understandable save call here from Walco. Now a reinvestment can come in. Hex can drop a FAMAS, you know, get himself onto a rifle. Maybe they look for the priority AWP instead. Wiz has been pretty impactful this map. You know, it was a key part of how they got as many rounds as they did on that T side. And then you see that Hex bites the bullet. AWP for Wiz and an MP9 for himself. Had the most money on the team, but big wallet, big heart.
Big heart just means there's more to shoot out, unfortunately, so we'll have to wait to see whether that is the case or not. Exceed trying to move back over. Thought for a second he might want to beat them into mini, but instead of just smoking it off and prioritizing outside control, that's where Walco had the angle, had the beginning, but not quite the finish of that frag. Exceed's able to overwhelm and find the first, and with this, they can reset, try to move back to secret. That's where Wiz is lying in wait.
Oh man, this wrap towards the A-bomb site could be so deadly. That's why we see the reaction here from RBG. They've looked through towards Hut, they're pushing lobby, and that's where Hate was supposed to keep things in check. At least keep them busy, do some damage, maybe find that kill. And now that's an information given up to Triumph that that lobby position is going to be a bit of an issue, but this elevation is going to be a massive advantage for him.
Chop's gonna find his first kill over here, and with that, the bomb would have been dropped at 60. Too quick on the scope. Quicks goes forward, takes him down, and Wiz will have to find the one on the rafters. Even so, had the idea, but Exceed and B-Wills, it's too much to deal with. Triumph will once again find their lead and find RBG floundering in their wallets.
Yeah, I mean, especially because we've talked a lot about it. You know, Triumph have been shifting up their roster. They're rebuilding a system. I wasn't too sure if T-side Nuke would provide the same level of security that CT side did. We talked a lot about how good they looked in terms of their protocols and the way that they were running around the map and reacting off of one another. And now they're finally getting things together here on this T side. Enough so that RBG, they don't have funds to buy in for this one. Now an opportunity arises where Triumph can create a bit of distance.
Well, they could run away with things, you're right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think RBG are a full loss bonus either, are they?
Nada. That is not the case.
Yeah, so
winning rounds here on the CT side mainly.
Yeah, and Chop being down to 1,000, that's worrying when you consider that. Hate, in the meanwhile, is going to be pushing forward. Chop's able to find one at the very least, so some of those money problems will be mitigated to some extent. Another kill would really put him in a better spot, but they just maul him out and are fine with the trades that they've found in the meanwhile elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, Hex is making his way down towards this lower site. He will get to this decon door, but not in time. It is smoked off as well. So we'll have to wait for reinforcements. Here come the rest of the squad with their pistols as well.
Exceed. All the way over to make sure that those Deagles can't really close the distance. Even follows up with a sharp shot. X down and out. It's all down to Chop and Wiz as they're waiting for the push to come through. Chop's found 160 down. Wiz as well is getting a bit of damage in at the very least, but even so, their chances of winning this round have basically been sent back, especially when Exceed just peeks out, gets himself that fourth crispy kill.
Yeah, it's against the pistols, but you can see how much damage the squad was taking from those pistols, so it's good that he's able to get things together, even if he only survives on a slither of health himself. You know, going 1-for-1 towards ramp and then taking heavy damage is not how George wanted to start that round, nor the rest of Triumph. So, yeah, the lack of loss bonus does play a part. There's that distance that can be created once again. This time there's more upgraded pistols. So, considering the closeness.
Oh!
In
that looked like it could have been. That looked like it could have been an opener.
It really could have. A little too far to get the 2D kill.
Yes. And that's going to be a 3D kill. Exceed. Pretty much as far as you could be.
Gun is still top silo, though, so it cannot be retrieved.
Very important.
Jitter navigate or Walco navigating that side and hoping like, oh, can I grab it? No, it's too high.
Wiz in the meanwhile might have an opportunity to come out big as they start to trail onto the bomb side. It's Hex to come out big initially. Wiz had the opportunity, but missing out that second bullet means B-Wills gets to get onto the bomb site with the man advantage. The HP is not great, and 60 missing out the shot isn't either. Flank puts him at a big advantage with these pistols, and now even the numbers going their way. A single point of HP, and he needs the headshot. It's his only option. B-Wills trying to play time, trying to get it off angle, trying to pray for anything to be found, but a Molotov as well to the back of the bomb site will not be spreading yet. Needs the headshot and gets it. B-Wills, a monster. That's what he is.
Oh my god, that Molotov is so close to him as well. One tick is all it took. If that landed centimeters closer, that's likely enough to immediately count him out in the round. But yeah, 4 kills, big clutch, and Triumph. They have found a bit of ground to work on here on this T side. Now it's the RBG buy, but that's got to get you pumped up. Maybe enough so that you can close this map out. It has been a tight series. Through and through, a lot of clutches necessary between these two squads. I don't know who's going to quite come out ahead. RBG, a lot of pressure weighing on their shoulders. I know that they might have slipped up on the Vertigo comeback. You know, they were coming back into this game as well, only for a Triumph to now establish that 3-round lead. A really slow approach here from Triumph, trying to work these angles with the ult. Nextseed diverting attention, throwing flashes, smokes towards outside, but ramp is where it's going to be met with a bit of pressure.
That smoke is perfect. It isolates out both Wiz and Jitter. Wiz is going to be able to pair around it. I'm not sure if the smoke's meant to allow for that, but does force him into a much more forward-facing angle. And in the meanwhile, they can start turning around to try and go back over towards A. Xseed is hoping to find the flank under the players who are likely going to be focused. That smoke actually buys him so much time to try and come through. This could be the undoing of this entire CT side, but he's missed out the timing. And the drop almost comes out as well.
They'll never expect this now, though.
These players are. He's going to be able to come through. Might not even be needed. 6C! You're taking away his limelight. And Hex, his life's being taken away. Walco's left alone, and that's where 6C just says, you know what? Forget your plays, man. I don't care about your big brain strats. I just care about frags.
Yeah, 6C just taking control in that round. That's actually so silly. Because Xseed could have potentially lined up for both of those kills if RBG weren't going to be aware of it. I mean, why would they? They just came up that ladder seconds ago. Only for Xseed's position to not really matter on those players, instead just collapsing on the site, and the high ground to low ground really works out. Now pistols out once again for RBG. Triumph have that momentum riding on them. Hate's already down the vents, but seems like they are aware of that possibility. I feel like they need one of these miracle rounds just to stay in this.
And Walco's hoping to be the one to provide for that very same miracle. There's a gap in the smoke, and he's found his opening to get one. They completely ignore him, bypass him, go straight down towards Secret. They say, you know what, you've got one, whatever, we'll take Secret instead. We're happy with that. Hate's going to have a Molotov to cover their tracks, so the only players coming in, well, there's going to be a lot of them, over from ramp. And they know it. Molotov spread is good, 6C's kill is better, and Hate is here to follow up and follow through. Despite losing out a player early on, still a advantage maintained. And Hate, okay, that's a bold jump up from 6C.
Yep. They're trying to boost to fight these angles under the stairs, but Hate ain't peeking that far out, so ultimately just another time waste, and without kits, that's a big deal. They're getting dealt with. Nicely done towards the end there from Xseed and Hate, and Triumph have got themselves up to 15. They started this map out so well. Met a bit of resistance here from RBG, but have hit a new stride now on this T side, and it's last stand. The final stand for RBG. This buy has to work.
At least it's going to be a full buy that they're potentially ending on. You know, they don't have any regrets going into it, but they have to make something of this. Still a chance of a hair before they are eliminated. Still an opportunity for them to fight. 6C in the meanwhile tagged up. He's been so crucial in these past few rounds. Seems like every single time he is the one finding them an opportunity. He's the one giving them a chance. Xseed, not this time, has managed to creep through inside those smokes multiple times over. Walco is wiser to him this time over. A deep Molotov will also be able to give them a bit more time to drop into ramp. That's what B-Wolves is going for.
They've got presence here as well on the side of RBG. Second man over. Jitter is just that man at the back of the site. So if Volko's able to divert attention, this sets up Jitter quite well.
Jitter's getting ready for the peek out, whereas Walco knows he has to be the one to provide and stay alive. That's the most important part. They can't be given the chance to swarm Jitter. And as the utility comes out, Walco's missed his first shot. Jitter's going to peek forward. He's got one, he's got two. Takes his time, lines him up. The second swing might be too much, though. Makes it doable once again. A 2-on-3 situation for them. 60 still got time on that smoke to be able to get the bomb plot down and move back. 60 misses a chance, and it's right behind him where Wiz lies in wait. RBG played that out very well.
Yeah, a nice little bait and switch there between Walco and Jitter. Walco actually getting one kill as well, so really selling that idea only for Jitter to swing out, especially after he was blinded up. You imagine a scenario where Walco isn't there and those flashes and utility sail into the site, then Jitter's likely a dead man. So really good coordination between the two of them. The fact that RBG were there to react accordingly after Triumph took that ramp control. Certainly some signs of life, but with Triumph getting as many rounds in a row as they did, that money is looking really good. They have a pretty comfortable cushion. You know, extra fluff.
Oh, yeah.
It's about whether RBG can replicate that, because part of the issue... I was going to say last round, XC, there was a gap in the smoke outside, but Jitter tries to take matters into his own hands. He pushes into him.
Hex might have just gone down a bullet as well. Most spots a flashbang, maybe a chance for him, but going further than that, no, he doesn't feel comfortable at all. Knows that there's someone likely going to be watching the angle, and he's right. B-Wills, the absolute monster that he's been, was ready for that. Meanwhile, crossover into Secret is guaranteed. XC is going to be caught out by a player in the corner. Chop's got two somehow. Could be three, but it's 60. Moving out with the Glock. What better way to do it? While Wiz is going to catch him off. Hex to follow up and back up. It's B-Wills now. Been spotted out. Nothing to do. Hex finds him, takes him down. Still a lot of money on the T side, but Triumph, got to be careful that you don't let this slip away from you.
Yeah, another really great reaction there from RBG. They have a player that's in position towards the lower side. Chop delays enough with those two kills, such that, you know, the AWP of Wiz can get engaged and get into that spot fast enough. Then Hexed as well. Just enough room so that the rotates can feel comfortable in taking those fights and meeting Triumph towards those lower steps. Let's start off with the Triumph man advantage. So, the fact that that's a recovery, RBG gonna be quite happy that that's taken place.
George being really careful now. You can see Triumph. Well, maybe necessarily the same sort of swagger in this step as before. Playing things much more cautiously.
They know they only need that one round, right? So caution is a pretty good approach. Just seems like RBG are having some really solid rotation, some really solid reads. Again, just bleeding a lot of this time off the clock. Oh, Molotov does land onto Hex. Was front side of that hut. Didn't want to get trapped inside of it, so had to run out. And now things will start to come together. Triumph, they haven't exactly investigated too many other areas, so it feels like it has to be some kind of an A play. They've held onto this lobby control for all too long. Smokes outside to try and divert attention, and Walco's caught in transition. Tries to take the fight door. B-Will's trailing in. Chop is there to line him up for a double.
Oh.
No, make that three, but there are trades right back. George, 1v2 for Wiz to then close things out. He dropped in on that site and was ready to go with the AWP. RBG are still in this and keeping things close.
What a showing from Chop over there. I mean, the fact that he's able to find himself off of the hut, move back into such a difficult angle, find 3 kills courtesy of the time, that's just wonderful.
And some of these slower rounds here from Triumph, you know, this is where we get to this point, especially with 60 on the Tech 9. Do they decide to speed things up? These slower approaches haven't ended up in round wins, even when they have the man advantage. So I feel like a burst is brewing.
Ooh, careful, Wheels. Thought for a second he might not have nailed that move, but of course he's got the quick little A strafe. You know he's good for it. Triumph, though, might not be good for the 16th with that overtime coming in. RBG are really looking at threatened. And this is where their money starts to, whittle down a bit. They definitely need a bomb run at the very least, but that's Exceed finding the first, brute forcing their way through with 2 quick kills, make it 3, entries all over, and a 4th almost found as well. Walco down to 6 will not be up to the same antics as before. Meanwhile, that's a nice little lineup for the one-way. Gives Jitter a little bit more room to work with. Exceed's very low, but playing from right underneath that smoke has some chances. Jitter wants to peek. Walco's already gone. Jitter is one more death away from Triumph victory, and B-Wills will deliver.
I think that was a team ace towards the end as well. Triumph do get it together. They compose themselves for that bursting play.